Rewind-A-Dynamite from the post-wrestling site. AEW, lighting up the fuse. Sit back and enjoy the bubbly as we hear from John and Wai Ting. Where we're going, we don't need roads. And if the buck stops here, this thing might blow. Everything you hear are opinions of the show. And if you don't like it, go to the forums and let them know. Let them know.
It is Rewind-A-Dynamite with John Pollock and Wai Ting. And everybody's G1 pool has just received a big blow. The Shota Umino effect is been felt by all. He is out of the tournament. Concussion has taken down Shota. All your Shota wins are now losses.
Fortunately, yeah. So, and that's why I'm glad I just chose randomly for this year's pool. I really do think these AI rando bots, all these things. I think it's their year for C Block, John.
Rando bot is always a very really dangerous weapon. The disengaged AI bot, always a threat when it comes to New Japan booking.
To give people an update, this is, of course, our post-wrestling G1 pool. Hopefully, you guys all had a chance to enter, but the post-wrestling family C Block standings currently has WH Park with 8 points after night one. He got a perfect card. He's followed by John Kleinchester. And listen, the humans are doing quite well right now. Most of us are sitting above the closest AI. We have AI entered in this year. We got Perplexity, putting in a card. Perplexity only coming up with 4 points, so only, I guess 4 out of 8, 9. 4 out of 9.
Look at Gemini and ChatGPT.
Randobot at 4, ChatGPT only at 2, and Gemini at the very bottom with 1 point. So you know what? For now, listen, we still hold the advantage.
I like how we needed representation from every AI bot out there. They're all represented.
You don't want to show bias. You want to. Claude couldn't make it this year. Claude did not get his.
What about Grok? How would Grok fare in the G1?
Oh, that's a great question. Maybe next year.
Okay, maybe next year. Well, folks, Wai and I did our double shot this week, covering the third part of Jeff Jarrett and the battle for TNA, going through Tuesday night's episode of Dark Side of the Ring. That is available now for all Post Wrestling Cafe members, discussing the Hogan Bischoff era, Jarrett's exit from TNA, his return to TNA, Anthem, Owls, his sobriety, AEW, all of this in 44 minutes.
Don't forget Victory Road 2011 with Jeff Hardy.
Why not? You've got 44 minutes. Let's take a detour and do the Jeff Hardy story.
His name is Jeff. It's close enough.
Yeah. JEFF all over this episode of Dark Side of the Ring. As Dixie Carter, friends and family, this was probably not meant for, but everybody else probably having many opinions.
This show could have used some Dixie Carter, friends and family. Like, you watch this show and
Surge. Couldn't Surge have been the compromise? Dixie doesn't want to sit down, so they send Surge. He can explain why he decked AJ Styles and left them laying in the ring once.
Yeah. You would think Dixie Carter has no friends in this world while watching the show. So plenty of thoughts about this.
She does have Brooke Hogan. Brooke Hogan put a lengthy post up defending Dixie.
Oh, really? What'd she say?
It's what everyone says about Dixie, that I have zero doubt she's a really nice woman. Like, that's pretty much everyone's defense, is like, she was so nice to me. I was like, I bet this woman was very kind to people. I can say personally, okay, this Dixie Carter, there was 1 year she just sent me a DM wishing me a happy birthday. It's like, I don't get happy birthday messages from wrestling people. So sounds like a very nice woman. I think both things can be true, though. But I think everyone agrees this would have been a stronger set of episodes with Dixie Carter rather than just speaking about Dixie Carter. But what more could they have done? Like, they tried very hard to get Dixie. She opted not to. And I think, would this have been a fun experience sitting down for this? Maybe not, but it would have been at least her side represented. And I think that there is the fact that no Dixie Carter probably means no TNA after 3 months. And we never talk about TNA after 2002. That's a very real possibility. In fact, it's probably the only possibility.
Maybe that's a season 8 story.
Well, this could be a recurring series.
You could, of course.
Blank and the battle for TNA. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll just go through all of them. I want the Len Asper 3-parter.
Ooh.
Yes.
Great. Yes. You would get interviewed for that.
I don't know, man. I might play the Dixie Carter card on that one. Like, nah, I'm good. We will be back on Thursday with Rewind-A-Wai covering WrestleMania 21 from 21 years ago, April of 2005. This was chosen by our Espresso executive producer, David Porges. And we're going to be going back chatting about the show that featured the title victories for Dave Bautista and John Cena, the Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels matches on this card. We've got Aki Bono, future Triple Crown holder, taking on The Big Show, and Motorhead, a live performance. And I will give everyone the chance to open up your ears and you tell me if this qualifies as a performance.
Oh,
interesting. Versus
okay.
Lemmy's, he's just huffing and puffing his way through this theme. it felt like a week of call, and it's like, all right, sure.
Could he have used a bit of auto-tune? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know if Motorhead and auto-tune have ever been uttered together, but it would have broken one Dan Lovransky's heart if he had leaned on that. So it is the authentic Lemmy that is represented on this WrestleMania. So that's coming out on Thursday. And again, the G1 shows are underway. We drop our next podcast Sunday. Karen Peterson and I will tackle Saturday and Sunday's shows, going through all of them. And we will dissect the loss of Shota Umino, what this means for the tournament, and some very strong matches on both of these cards coming up. But we got 6 matches Saturday and only 4 on Sunday with the Umino exit as well. But look at this calendar, just brimming with shows. July is the month to jump on board, folks. Who else is going to bring you the G1 coverage? Heels, WrestleMania, Kira Hokuto retrospective, Dark Side of the Ring, WWE Unreal, X-Men 97. We've got everything covered. You don't need a life when you've got the Post Wrestling Cafe.
The weather reports for our Toronto, certainly we'll cover that. Maybe we'll cover stocks at some point.
Yeah, yeah, why not?
Yeah, how's your portfolio?
It's robust.
Got it. Cool. You think what?
I was saying I think that a future for us is, we'll bring Brandon in on this, where we just review lawsuit complaints. We just take random complaints and read them. Doesn't have to be wrestling related.
Yeah. Post law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's got a ring to it.
Good. All right. Cool. Yeah. Let's make that pivot.
On to Dynamite we go. In Boston, the MGM Music Hall at Fenway. WrestleTix number 3006. They were here last April, 3,181. So minor dip. But they're doing back-to-back nights here, with Collision being taped Thursday night. And we're starting off with Will Ospreay deep in his workout earlier today with the Death Riders. They were drilling forearm strikes until exhaustion. And Moxley warns Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta not to let Copeland and Cage off the hook tonight, no matter what Hall of Fame they're in.
Yep.
It's like, okay. So we are acknowledging the WWE. Wait, Christian's not in any Hall of Fame, is he? He's in the TNA Hall of Fame, right?
That's right. Okay. So very appropriate comment. Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
So there we go. And then we get our favorite character, John Moxley as Dad, sitting down with Will. And he reflects that the last steps are the critical ones. Mistakes cost everything. And people make simple things so complicated. You can see the finish line and people hesitate. But you've earned this. And there will come a time when you have to make hard decisions. But this, your dream, this is not a hard decision to make. And when you get your shot, you don't hesitate. You pull the trigger, no matter who the target is.
Yeah.
Something tells me this ending of this promo will be used on a future countdown special for an AEW pay-per-view.
Certainly. First of all, Christian Cage is not currently a member of the TNA Hall of Fame.
He's not?
No. But he is in the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, both as a singles wrestler and also with Edge. as a tag team.
Okay, well, that's clearly what Jon Moxley was reminding us of.
I'm sure he watches
the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame.
I'm sure he watches the Canadian Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame ceremony.
Man,
I'm sure
Christian's really gotten the short end of the stick.
Oh,
that's right. I'm thinking of the time that remember when he was with WWE, and that was part of the Ric Flair settlement for using him at the Hall of Fame was they sent Christian to show up at TNA, and he was miserable.
Maybe Moxley was confused about that too. But so I mean, certainly setting up the expectation of Will Ospreay going for the kill against Kenny Omega with that Tiger Driver, which is where he, initially debuted. Their last match is where he initially debuted the spot. So, will he go for the kill against Kenny?
Will Jon Moxley go for the kill when the time is right and not hesitate?
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
I love these segments with Moxley.
Great. Yeah,
old man Moxley with the wise man Jon Moxley. Tag title match sees Adam Copeland and the non-Hall of Famer Christian Cage against Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta. Cage pretends that he's going to go for Daniel Garcia's dance, but just gives him the middle fingers. And Yuta pulls Copeland into the ring skirt. They double team him. Cage eventually receives the tag and hits a diving headbutt off of the top. Garcia stops his kill switch attempt, and then Cage goes to remove the turnbuckle. Bryce is dealing with it, so Yuta avoids a low kick from Cage. Cage resorts to biting him, and then it's Yuta that takes the turnbuckle pad off, and Cage kicks Garcia in the balls. Bryce's back still turned. Just the most ignorant referee here. And the pop-up sends Yuta into a spear by Copeland for the win in 11 minutes. 53 seconds, and that kicked off the show.
I felt it to be a pretty average tag team match by AEW standards, but to me, it is the type of match that I think Cage and Cope can still look very capable, and they're both in incredible shape, and they look like they have no issues doing this type of match. And I find
are they in April 2005 Money in the Bank form?
Probably not, but as characters and as promos, you can argue they're certainly better now than they were even back then. This level of match I find pretty appropriate for TV, and I certainly don't mind them saving their big, more riskier performances for pay-per-view at this point in their careers. Good aggression from Garcia and Yuta, and just just kind of padding out, I would say, the Cage and Cope's title defense record at about one a month, at this point, en route to All In.
The Young Bucks are in the crowd applauding them. So let's take that 3,011 number and subtract 2. And Copeland acknowledges them. And then the Dogs and Claudio storm the ring, attacking Cage's injured forearm. The Bang Bang come out for help. And Finley's got the shillelagh when Jay White appears, stealing the shillelagh. And Jay White and Christian Cage have a moment where they're staring at one another. Copeland plays Peacemaker, and Finley is yelling for his weapon back. So at the end of all of this, we've got this pay-per-view in Canada, and I don't know what they're planning for Copeland and Cage. It certainly feels like the Young Bucks is not happening at the Montreal show, but that is a direction. And it feels like maybe something involving all of these. You got a lot of people here, but between the Death Riders and the Bang Bang Gang with Copeland, Cage, the Bucks, I don't know, something coming out of this.
Yeah, you would certainly expect something quite prominent for Cage and Cope for this Canadian pay-per-view. And they can, it kind of demands, or at least it invites some sort of anarchy in the arena type of match, involving multiple people, but with a crazy sort of setting. But that's also the type of match I feel like they've done. It's the whole sort of melee involving multiple factions facing each other. See, it feels like something that they've done quite a bit already in recent months. But it doesn't mean that it wouldn't be welcome.
The first of Renee's 45 interviews on this show was with Andrade, and he's now got a How You Know shirt. It's his destiny, he says, to become AEW champion, and he's going to go through the Don Callis family, which Renee notes, that's a lot of people to go through, and he then pulls out a ring. And I thought this was going to start Moxley's next program, the way he was bringing this ring out, and he reveals MJF's Dynamite Diamond Ring, and Renee explains to us very clearly, oh, did you get this from Will Ospreay last week who stole the ring from MJF? And Andrade says, how you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it was quite the exercise to just get this ring into this man's possession.
Like, you mean what? Like by explaining it?
Yeah, it was just a lot of thought seemed to go into this of like why we need to get this ring to Andrade. But they did it.
Yeah. I guess it still ties, MJF to Andrade as some sort of future destination. I mean, I felt like it was, logical. And
could Andrade not just have stolen the ring from Max last week? Did it have to be Will that takes the...
It kind of did because it's Ospreay and Will. Ospreay and Omega, that's the match at Wembley, right?
It is. I don't think that disqualifies that match from happening. It's just Andrade, if we are going toward Andrade and MJF, which clearly seems to be a direction.
But what's the problem with having...
There's no problem.
This, Ospreay giving it to him, right? I think Andrade's English has really gotten so much better since his last AEW run that, he's really just clicking so much more and he's connecting so much more. And the big difference maker is not just the wrestling, because he's always been a great wrestler, but it's been the fact that he's been able to convey personality and, deliver clearly, able to deliver a storyline through frequent appearances talking. There's a lot of verbiage here in this video and also this interview about him being a future world champion. And, that's not the type of thing I think any promoter would have him say if, they didn't have ambitions of putting him at that level at some point. So I think with how he's looking, how well he's getting over with the audience, I certainly think he's on pace at some point in the not too distant future to reach that level. Support for this podcast comes from NordVPN. There is a lot of wrestling happening every week, and if you're a completist like we are at Post, then you probably know how expensive it can be juggling multiple streaming services just to keep up. In some parts of the world, things are set up pretty well. Regions where WWE lives on a single paid streaming service, others where AEW fans can get their weekly shows and pay-per-views bundled under one subscription. But when those fans travel abroad, they lose access to those fully featured versions of those services that they rely on at home. And that's where NordVPN comes in. No matter where you are, you can open the app on your phone, laptop, or Apple TV, connect to a server of your country's location, sign into your existing accounts, and keep up with your wrestling the way you do at home. John and I have been using Nord for over 3 years now, and it's become one of the most reliable, must-have tools in our wrestling consumption. It'll probably be for you as well. You can grab an exclusive NordVPN deal by going to our custom link, nordvpn.com/postwrestling. You'll get a big discount on any 2-year plan, plus 4 additional months on top. As always, it is completely risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. That's nordvpn.com/postwrestling. You can find all the information in the episode notes. Get your exclusive deal and let them know you found them through us.
Then Renee speaks with the conglomeration, and Orange Cassidy says, this is where 3 people show up to challenge us for the belts. And like clockwork, the Demand come into the scene, and they're not going to lay a hand on them, but instead the Lethal Twist attack them. And Ricochet explains that we said we wouldn't lay a hand on you. They're not in the Demand yet.
Yeah, which means they will be, right? Mm-hmm. If you remember the swirl where 2 people that Ricochet was kind of auditioning to join the Demand, and I guess they didn't make the cut. Now it seems like they're about to, or at least auditioning again. So it's going into a pretty big stable, this whole thing. They're about to double in size with the addition of Lethal and the swirl here. And I mean, I like it. As a tag team, Lee Johnson and Blake Christian are very different from the Gates of Agony. I think in terms of attitude, they fit well. Jay Lethal, I feel, is almost too big to be in a faction under a Ricochet. It just seems like he's just so much more established. But we are comparing them to the Don Callis family, who have multiple tag teams and just really any level of guy in there.
Present day, I don't know how much Jay Lethal is. I mean, this is kind of the role I think this is actually a bigger role for Jay Lethal than he has had in quite some time. Being on Dynamite, period. I think every group in AEW, the minimum entry number has to be 6.
Sure, yeah. Well, they're taking the New Japan approach. Sure.
That's what you sort of need to do with this roster size to just have placement for all these people. Jake Doyle against Andrade El Idolo. Andrade is just so over in front of this crowd. And this was a really strong crowd, I thought, in Boston throughout the show. He hits a Rana off the apron, and then he reveals the censored version of his fucked on Fuck MJF shirt and takes a selfie with the person in the front row. But then he gets chokeslammed onto the edge of the apron. So Doyle is destroying him, rips off the shirt, or Andrade rips his own shirt off to a pop. The double knees are stopped by a running avalanche from Doyle, but then Andrade hits a moonsault to the floor, 3 amigos, and after a crucifix attempt, it's turned into a spinning elbow delivered by Andrade, DM for the win in 12 minutes and 14 seconds. But I would say the match was fine, but it was the reaction that Andrade was generating from this crowd. Like, this is the most over that this guy has been. It feels like he has ascended to that, like, much higher tier in AEW where you could see this guy in the title mix.
Yeah, I agree. I think like all of these spots that he was doing in this match, like many of them for years, they're all getting way bigger reactions now than he has ever like had. And, you know, like even the selfie spot, certainly anytime the man removes an article of clothing, you know, whether it be like the shirt he's got above the t-shirt underneath and then the t-shirt underneath, he didn't even have to take off his pants. He's saving that for pay-per-view now, it looks like. Anytime he takes any sort of article of clothing off, like he gets a great reaction. The double knees get a big reaction now, bigger reaction, I should say. And you know, I think it's because he's showcased some great personality. He's built connection with the crowd, and he can cut a promo now. So these are all things that I think are clicking really well for him. I think Jake Doyle has just been awesome too. You know, if there was any fear that like he would get left behind due to the layoff, like that, you don't have to worry about that. Maybe like, you know, Mark Davis not being around due to like visa issues has kind of helped in that way, and that like you feel like you have two very capable monsters in the group now, and both of them I think are bringing something, you know, worthwhile to the show. So I think Doyle has been like a really fun addition.
They immediately announced that Andrade gets the national title shot against Mark Davis at Redemption, and Davis comes out, but Andrade puts on the ring, and this scares off Mark Davis. It's like this ring has got like I don't know,
magic powers.
It's like, oh Jesus, not the ring, yeah. And he backs off. I would not be beating Andrade at this stage, and if they go that the title switch, it could get Davis and Doyle to kind of reboot the team that was just getting started when you had the injury to Doyle earlier this year. I mean, that's a potential way to go.
You could, but what's their program for Wembley?
Who? Because Davis and Doyle?
If you pair them back up.
I don't know.
Because don't you already have Cajun Cove versus the Bucks? You know, is there a tag team program available for?
I mean, I'm not looking at those two guys to have like a super prominent match at All In. I
think Davis should. Like he's been incredible on this roster so far. I almost wonder if like, you know, being a tag team again is a bit of a step back for him when he's already like done such a great job breaking out. But I mean, I also can certainly see the title change here, just because I don't think you should beat Andrade either, unless, you know, that's their way of springboarding him into his All In program. Who do you think he faces at All In, Andrade? Max.
That was kind of my thought here, is that you know, it feels like Max is not going to be on this pay-per-view. Like he was not on tonight. He was mentioned, but you know what was really weird was there any mention of Hangman Page on tonight's show?
No, I don't think so either.
That
Not
was
even
so
like in
weird.
Kenny's promo.
I don't think they even recapped it.
Yeah, it was a bit odd.
Like that was really strange to me that they didn't, and they showed plenty of recaps of last week. It's not like they weren't recapping stuff. So that one was weird. But yeah, to answer your question, if it's not Hangman Page and Max, like Andrade and Max is clearly happening. It's going to be the timetable of like when MJF is back. Like you could do that one at Arena Mexico, but that's in 3 weeks. Could you hold Andrade and Max to Wembley? I
feel like it's
possible.
Hot enough for Wembley, certainly, like with the history that the two share now, and for that reason, I can also see the national title being a part of it, just to kind of raise the stakes a little bit more with MJF chasing.
Yeah. You know, Andrade's got some good options on the table. I think between this Arena Mexico show in a couple of weeks that you would think he will be prominently featured on, and then, you know, he should be in something of substance for London. Shivani brings out Kenny Omega, and they had this Omega frame in the ring that had a collage of photos. This looked like a paper mache project I made in like 8th grade.
It would be impressive for an 8th grader. I mean, I thought it was
9th grader.
fine.
They might tell you to. It's like, okay, there's a. I don't know. This look kind of rinky dink.
This was fine. What do you have to criticize about it? What, like, it's not a perfectly curved Omega symbol?
It just well,
Perfectly
it was an idea. So Kenny comes out with the Triple B, and he is joined by the Young Bucks, and they state their friendship for Kenny, but they can't stand him having this belt, so they replaced the Triple B with the old championship. And Omega remarks how he didn't know if he could hold this again after so much time. And he thanks the fans, and it is less than 50 days until Wembley. Get your tickets now. And he still has a lot of work to do, but you're going to see the best version of Kenny Omega at All In. So Will Ospreay interrupts, and he references ending the Bucks EVP roles last year. The Bucks are like, it's cool. We're fine. And asks to speak to Kenny alone. So the Bucks take off. Ospreay is happy to see him again as champion and said, you never gave up last week in that heat. He says, the cleaner is back. And for 10 years, Kenny, you've been my hero and inspired me to become the best wrestler I can be. I only wanted to be a fraction of the wrestler you are. But now I'm locked in and I don't want to be number 2. This is a real life Goku versus Vegeta. And Kenny gave the sign like, good point. I agree.
Yeah. I'm sure Kenny's anime knowledge runs way deeper than just Dragon Ball Z, but
like,
you noob. Maybe he appreciates it. Yeah.
He said, let's show them. This is where the best wrestle. And Kenny's like, well, wait a minute, Will. We've got a pay-per-view in a week and a half. This match might not happen. So Kevin Knight comes out and explains how he is still owed a title shot because of MJF's promise and challenges Kenny for redemption. And Kenny asks to play all of us saying, why would I give you a title shot based on an agreement you made with Max? I don't have to give you a title shot based on that, but I'm going to give you one anyway, because when I first saw you, I saw something in you. You had it. You were hungry. But then you joined the Don Callis family. And I would be a hypocrite because I did the same thing. And it was back during the pandemic when no one could attend the arenas, but no one would have come to see me anyway because my self-worth fell down the toilet aligning with Don Callis. So this is the big headline. AEW would have gone out of business with Kenny Omega as champion. No
did he
crowds.
look at the ratings? Were the ratings bad? Like, how were the buy rates? Did he check all
He did very
metrics?
well, both for him and TNA during that period. So he says that...
By the way, he kept calling him Maxub Jacob Freeman. Did you catch that?
It wasn't just me.
What the fuck? What? Like, I don't understand if he was like,
It was twice he did this, didn't he?
Maxwell Jacob Frodman. Okay, I get it. But like, what is Maxub Jacob Freeman supposed to mean?
I don't know. It's maybe it's a speech pattern he has. Maybe it's
Maxub.
it's the Winnipeg in him coming through. So I did notice that too. And I thought maybe I just misheard. But then he did it again. And I was like, there's something weird here, but I didn't write it down. So he explains that he defends MJF, saying Max is not a fraud because he defended this belt. He did what he said he was going to do. It's you that's the fraud. And the people want the jet, Kevin Knight, not the lapdog. So I want you to do it on your own. And he believes that Kevin Knight still has some goodness left in his heart. Knight says there is no goodness left in my heart, only greatness. And he strikes Kenny and he runs out of the ring. Darby jumps him from behind. Out comes the Don Callis family, and Omega and Ospreay are alone in the ring and get the Death Riders to come for backup with a big standoff with the Don Callis family. So the headline here is that we have Kenny Omega against Kevin Knight for the AEW Championship at the Redemption pay-per-view in a week and a half. And I'm just going to say this on this pay-per-view. I think this is going to be the ultimate test of AEW fans that are going to buy an AEW pay-per-view because it's an AEW pay-per-view. I think this is going to be a really tough ask for people. Like, this feels to me Like, probably a great show on paper. That's a given. But in terms of a hook, and like, this feels like the lame duck show before All In.
Yeah. Well, this can't be it, right? Like this, like when they had MJF versus Kenny on TV, I feel like a lot of people were confident that Tony would have had something else up his sleeve for the big headlining match, if he was going to give that one away on TV. And as much as I think this match could really like deliver in ring,
this would be an awesome match on like 2 weeks notice for TV. I think this would be. I thought they did as good a job as possible setting up a match that there is a zero believability factor in Kevin Knight. And what you're promising here is
a good match.
Like a career-making match for Kevin Knight in defeat is pretty much what you're selling here to people.
That's fine, but I don't think that'll move numbers. Like,
no, it won't. Wait, it will not. Like there's not a. This is not a pay-per-view main event, in my opinion.
Which leads me to think that he's probably going to have to book something else on the like that's maybe the proper main event, as your spectacle, as your actual reason to purchase the show. Right?
I would have announced that tonight. That would have been my thought. We have one more Dynamite.
Oh my God, 100%. Yeah, I don't disagree there. So they do also set up maybe some sort of continuation of a Death Riders Don Callis family program, in all of this as well, with Will Ospreay in the middle. So you can always play with those pieces, right? You're also very curious about Speedball, but like there are hints about that coming up.
Yeah. So we go to Jack Perry, who is now starting chapter 2 of his AEW career after signing his new contract. Throughout chapter 1, he was always on the verge of breaking through to the next level. That's what this chapter is all about. And so how is he going to write chapter 2? He's got an open challenge for Collision, which will be answered by Nick Wayne.
Yeah, his open challenge for somebody who was in a similar position to him. I guess somebody else who's currently in their chapter 1, which I guess Nick Wayne would be. I think he's gained a lot more confidence in his voice since becoming the scapegoat character. But man, like seeing him kind of like revert back to like being more of like I would say like your average babyface type of role. Like, I don't know I don't know if I like it as much. Like he still sounds a bit and looks a bit like just a kid. And again, that's not always a bad thing in pro wrestling, but like for the type of like role he's trying to sell right now, I'm seeing less like, Jack Perry and more like Jungle Boy.
Well, then they zoomed out and Luchasaurus was holding the boom mic.
That's right. Yeah.
These two and the segments they do together, like I have to imagine it's the two of them coming up with a lot of these ideas between the bus and like, I'm sure it's a riot when these guys come up with these ideas, but I don't know. I missed the punchline on a lot of their comedy.
Maybe it's just like, for want of like having something interesting at the end of a promo segment versus just a promo, Mm-hmm. I wonder how long this man's poor injury is, like it feels like it's been forever since his arm's been.
He's a Knicks fan. He should be in good spirits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Bandito and Brody King against Nick Comoroto and Aaron Solo. Big fuck ice chance here from Boston that lasted like 10 seconds. And then they were like, okay, let's get to the match. Bandito hit a press slam onto Nick Comoroto and a splash off the shoulders of King. King then just scoop slams Nick onto Solo. Splash by Bandito off the top. He pinned both guys in 2 minutes and 14 seconds. A rare victory for Bandito. And that was
not a rare victory for Brodito.
I guess so. He needs Brody at his side. It's when this man is in singles competition, this ROH World Champion.
He needs to fight Aaron Solo and Nick Comoroto more often. I think he'll have a pretty good
death before dishonor. Have your pick here against maybe Brandon from New Jersey's guy here, his former classmate Nick Comoroto.
Oh, I thought it would have been Aaron Solo.
No. This is clearly Nick Comoroto, a Brandon from New Jersey guy.
Former
look
classmate,
at
really?
this chest hair, man. Like it's out of control.
What class are we talking about? What kind of class?
They went to the same college, I believe.
Oh, were they friends or they just knew each other? Or just he just?
I don't know. We'll have to examine how deep the relationship was.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, he's a big Nick guy. Renee speaks with Fletcher and Callis, and then Brodito just walk into the back and bump into them.
Yeah,
This
I mean,
was- this was subtle.
That tight space back there.
Yeah. Kyle
So-
Fletcher.
So yeah, they would announce Fletcher versus Bandito.
Yeah, we get a whole separate segment to set up this match after this bumping into them.
I mean, Bandito is just your guy. Bandito is your guy to put on a pay-per-view with almost no story whatsoever. He's just like, at least they had an incident here. Like in the past, I feel they just announced like, oh, Bandito versus like John
You got into my
Moxley, like,
shot. You got into my shot during my promo, you bitch.
Yeah, this is like his all-in build is going to be like, like you looked at me the wrong way. All right, Bandito versus blank.
Well, will Commander get a spot at All In? I think he should have after this TV match. This was incredible. Him and Kyle Fletcher, 11 minutes. Commander was just on fire for this match and was in with maybe the best guy in the company to have just a sensational TV match. Commander does a rope walk dive. They go through picture in picture. Commander executes a double springboard into a Rana, then comes off the top turnbuckle with a Rana to the floor, and it sends Fletcher so hard into the desk that this guy slices his like rib area. That didn't look too enjoyable. And Commander gets knocked off balance during the rope walk, but flips to land on his feet and comes back with a springboard super destroyer that could not have looked smoother. And this place is going wild. Fletcher catches him with a Michinoku driver. Then Commander goes for a moonsault off the top, which Fletcher catches and turns it into a brainbuster. This was awesome. Amazing. I just thought this match was so terrific.
So great. I think Commander is so special, and his run in AEW thus far has kind of made him into like, you've kind of forgotten about him, or at least like you've taken him for granted because like he's been booked to be just like one of like X amount of like cruiserweights who's just kind of put into these sort of positions to have like strong matches, but never gets any sort of like big meaningful wins. But like this break away from seeing him because of like visa issues, because of just not being featured on like, this is his first Dynamite match in over a year. So like, just
really?
Yeah, like, and simply not seeing him for that long, it's kind of made all of these amazing spots really fresh again, especially like against an opponent like Kyle Fletcher, who's able to like enhance and make all of his, like, this was no doubt a Commander showcase match, and Fletcher was there to really enhance everything and to make everything look incredibly perfect. So
Commander also hit everything. Like there were no stumbles. There was like, he had some ambitious stuff and he nailed them as well. Like this was a really, really impressive match to definitely check out from the show. Certainly my match of the show.
You just hope that he can get a proper push, because of course the talent's there.
Well, you need to think about this when you're walking backstage. Like bump into the guys that you want to work with.
It's true.
That's how it works. Fletcher tears away at Commander's mask, and then Takeshita runs out, to many people's surprise, nails Fletcher, and then picks up the international belt when Okada appears and lays out Takeshita with the Rainmaker. And then Okada and Fletcher each grab hold of the international belt when Brodito attack, and Bandito raises the international title. So a lot of stuff set up here. And I guess this is our write-off of Takeshita, who I imagine we are now not going to see until post G1.
Yeah, I guess so.
He's got to fly all the way now. He's got two
true.
matches this weekend.
Yeah, unless he's on the tapings tomorrow.
Oh, that's yeah. It would seem kind of silly to.
Yeah, they're not going to write him off too. They're not going to write him like do an injury angle like when he's doing the G1, because they recognize the G1. So yeah.
No, but obviously, like they're setting up stuff here. You're probably getting another Okada match. You're probably getting another Fletcher match. Probably a 3-way at some point with these. I
think All In. Well. I think the 3-way feels like big enough. Just even in story for All In, it feels appropriate for.
I thought based on this, it was like obviously Okada and Fletcher is a direction. It was like the fact that they're not doing that at Redemption, it kind of further just tells you like this Redemption show just feels like it's not big enough for some of these better matches that we have in the holster.
Yeah. Bandito versus Fletcher is going to be awesome, right? But like this big storyline culminating matches, I mean, expect that for All In.
Renee is with Kenny Omega, and he says there's no shortage of credible challengers, and he still sees hope in Kevin Knight. And Darby appears saying Kevin Knight is not going to change overnight. He needs to be humbled, and he's going to take his TNT title away from him next week. And then Moxley wanders in and tells Kenny that some people are what they are, and they can't pretend to be someone else, even if they try.
Okay. So talking about himself.
I don't know. Was this a shot at Renee? Was this a shot at Kenny?
Well, who's trying to be something else that they aren't?
Maybe he was. I don't know. I'm trying to get into his head. I don't know.
Okay. So,
the end result is they have to team up next week.
These two?
They're teaming with Will next week in a trios match.
Oh, okay. Yes. Right. Yes. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it seems like, continued sort of like teasing of maybe Moxley having something up his sleeve. And, certainly building a bit more tension between Moxley and Omega here.
You realize this match, and granted, I'm not even arguing it would be too short of a build. This would be so much more enticing for this redemption show. Like, if you're gonna have a sliver of doubt of like Will would have to beat Moxley at All In, and I wouldn't be like, I'm just saying, like, this, I don't doubt that when this redemption show was booked, I would imagine it was Kenny beating Max, and now they have to, like, for whatever reason, they had to do it on TV, and it just feels like this pay-per-view that we have to put this pay-per-view in, and we're not gonna blow the bank off of this because the hook that we had is no longer the hook, and everything is peaking for August 30th, not July 26th. And I just think it's going to be a test of just people that are, this is AEW's reputation it is built of what it can draw without having like a big stipulation match, a big compelling title match in the main event. It's just going to be AEW loyalty for this number.
I think it shows a problem, like maybe for future editions of a show like All In taking place at a major stadium, where you need to establish your main event early enough for people that are making their plans to travel, while at the same time trying to build to a pay-per-view like 30 days out from that big show and having that feel relevant, right? WWE runs into this issue as well, but they at least now have like 2 championships, and like they can, maybe make a bigger deal out of like, one of those matches versus like 2 of them. Anyway, so yeah, bit of an issue this time, but I also think like this redemption show will have something else that will be its selling point that they've yet to announce.
Renee is on the stage and bring out the Brawling Birds, who just come out to talk about getting drunk. Windsor is sad about England's loss, and Hayter says that
it was heartbreaking. I'm sure for my condolences to Davey and really anybody else. But congratulations, Argentina. Like they lost in like the extra time, and anyway. Yeah,
well,
sad.
Jamie Hayter said that we are the Brits with the tits that won't let you down. And they propose going to get pissed, and they take Renee away. So glad we fit this in.
Man, well, so I mean, they're like most likely challenging Divine Dominion in Wembley, right? Again, I feel like the only reason to put these two together as a team, or at least the major reason to put them together as a team, is to like peak at Wembley. But
they need to find an Argentinian women's team for Wembley. That should be that's the play.
Any Argentinians here on the roster?
Maybe they do a genealogy test on like Megan Bain, and they find out she's got like a half cousin somewhere.
I will say, like when we saw Alex Windsor crying into the arms of Will Ospreay after failing to beat Monet in the Owen Cup, I thought they were going to give us like something a bit more like emotionally satisfying for really the both of them, but especially Alex Windsor en route to All In. Like I thought would have been, a bit more full of like depth than now. Just seeing these two kind of lean more into like your drunken pub brawling British stereotype.
There's
like
some depth here.
Their gimmick is just like, we love to drink and we love to fight, and rather than like feeling like that they're endearing, I actually find them way more obnoxious. Like hearing like as I would like hearing like just like drunk people like yelling obnoxiously at a bar.
They should do their segments drunk. That would be the next
think
step.
That was what they were going for here, weren't they? Like they said that they've been drinking all day and they're speaking really, really loudly, way more.
They're the modern Crusher and Dick the Bruiser. That's what they're going for here.
Okay, yeah.
Bring some keg. They should carry some kegs to the ring.
I just feel like it might have worked, like, I don't know, like for the APA, like in the late 90s. I just think like these two are capable of a bit more.
We see a shadowy figure, and it is Chris Jericho, but we cannot see his face. And he said how he enjoyed leaving Beach Break bloodied last week by Ciampa, so proposes doing it again at Redemption. You bring the pain, I'll bring the pain maker. And he turns around, and we get the fifth member of Kiss that is coming to Montreal and reveals the face paint. We immediately cut to Ciampa, who accepts Painmaker versus Psycho Killer, and then mentions he has one more night in his hometown and issues a challenge for Collision. It's like all these guys, they're just like, I'm just going to wrestle on Collision. Just find me an opponent. And just babyfaced himself here to Boston. So this guy will be wrestling on Saturday.
To me, so it's either like the opponent he has. Have they announced who the opponent is? Do we know?
They never announced an opponent for him.
Okay. So I think it just means Tony hasn't booked the show yet.
We got to get Ciampa on the show.
When the time they did the Perry pre-tape, they probably hadn't like picked Nick Wayne as the opponent yet. Like
it's going to be Commander, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, I don't know. I don't like this guy books the shows. Bandito. Yeah. So doing this match again on pay-per-view, I like, okay, like they've been building this story for a month, and it feels like an appropriate stage for it. I can't say like this Painmaker thing to me has ever been any sort of like big difference maker in like the appeal of Chris Jericho.
This wasn't Mankind tearing off the shirt to reveal Cactus Jack for the street fight with Triple H.
No, it's not that. It's not like the Great Muta. It's not the Demon. It's really not really anything like that. Like number one, it doesn't feel different enough from the Jericho sort of like that we know anyway. I feel like, maybe the look could use something a little bit more drastic than just like this eye makeup. And I don't know, man, like just to kind of hear Chris Jericho talk like he's more of a tough guy. It doesn't, I don't think he does he's very good at it,
Does this rematch bring out the power drill?
Of course. Yeah, it's a power drill match for sure.
Okay.
It certainly does evoke maybe expectations of like thumbtacks and just like something.
They've got to do a violent match, and I would think Jericho gets his win back.
Yeah,
in this one. Then we have the trilogy with the Lionheart version against
the lawyer Tommaso.
The
Ciampa.
lawyer Thomas Whitney.
Thomas Whitney, great.
I love it.
Good pull. Yeah.
Darby Allin and Brian Cage. This match started like where you would normally put the main event, but we had another match after this. So this match was 95% Brian Cage throwing this guy all over the place, deadlifts him into the ring, F5. He sets up the steps on the floor, and Darby leaps over the steps and comes back with a coffin drop to the floor, then a code red off the turnbuckle, but then Cage military presses him off the stage, and by throwing him, Darby ricochets his head off of the post and just crashes to the floor. Like getting military pressed off the elevated stage, that wasn't enough. It's like, no, lawn dart me towards the post as well. And watch the replay they showed of this was a horrendous angle in terms of his head just buckling around this post.
Yeah, I can only imagine like what an Adam Copeland watching this, like what notes he would have with Darby.
None, dude. He would be like, fuck it. I'm not sitting down with this guy. I'm not talking to him. It's too far gone.
I mean, appreciate it while we have it,
That's it.
I wonder how long this man intends to wrestle. Even.
Yeah, I just don't give me any discussions of, we didn't know. It was just, it was... We've learned so much more now about what the body can take.
He knows plenty, and he signed the waiver. He's okay with the risk.
He's fine. Darby uses his belt, taking Cage off balance off the steps, hits a coffin drop onto the steps with Cage, and then Cage beats the count into the ring, absorbing 2 more coffin drops, and Darby wins in 9:57. So this was all action, and
it was awesome.
Pretty insane too.
Yeah, like it's an awesome Tanaka style of match that you put Darby against any of these like strong guys, it's going to be magnificent. And
sorry, could you imagine Mike Awesome and Darby Allin for 12 minutes on pay-per-view?
Would be a dream scenario. Yeah, but Cage did a great job here, I thought.
Okada and Fletcher react to Brodito And Fletcher says he is going to be the greatest international champion of all time. And the highlight was watching Okada just sneering in the background at this as Fletcher declared himself to be the best champion ever. And he wants Bandito for the first time ever at Redemption. First time ever. I thought he was going to propose title versus title, but I was like, stupid me.
You often forget that Bandito is a champion currently.
Yeah. Is he not allowed to defend it in AEW? Maybe that should be the rule. Okay. Because he loses way too many singles matches. This title is a bit of an albatross on this guy.
Loses a lot of singles matches, but you could still claim undefeated in Ring of Honor.
Yes, yeah. The Blake Christian effect.
Yeah. Right. Loses every match everywhere else. But as long as you don't lose in Ring of Honor, you can still claim undefeated.
Oh. Then Renee speaks with Kevin. Do you know how many times I've said that we go to Renee? She was all over the show. She's with Kevin Knight and Don Callis, and they mention how Knight is going to face Darby next Wednesday, then Kenny Omega at the pay-per-view, but Callis says he can handle it, and then cuts a promo on Kenny Omega that everything Kenny's gotten in life is because of Don. So Don walks off, and Speedball Mike Bailey comes in to talk to his ex-partner with a shirt that was magnifique.
I love it. What is it, like gold moths? Is that what he has?
That's what it looked like, yeah.
On a print?
Like butterflies.
Cool. Awesome.
Really, really cool. Speedball tells him that me and Kenny, we still love you. And when you come to your senses, we will forgive you. This is the promo that Marty Jannetty never got to give Shawn Michaels. Once you decide to turn back, no problem, man. It's cool. He basically could have just said, listen, my bookings have gone to shit since Jet Speed broke up. I'm not even booked for my Montreal pay-per-view yet. Kevin, I'm cool if you ever want to get the band back together. I'm here. I'm around. Kevin Knight explains, I don't need your love. I'm headlining the next pay-per-view, and you're going to be in catering. This Speedball character is just like, it's something else to watch.
I mean,
the best wrestler, like one of the best wrestlers in the industry, and these segments are just laughable.
Well, he's just a really nice guy, okay, and you don't turn your back on family simply because they make one little mistake, or maybe in Knight's case multiple mistakes. Yeah. But this is just the story they're telling en route to Knight versus Speedball. I thought it would be. Oh
boy, the tensions just rise to such a level way that. I don't know if we are getting the singles match. And if we are, I don't know. They have taken any kind of animosity out of this one.
Well, you do have the Darby match coming up as well. So you know what? That might be all in. Yeah.
Darby's next week.
Oh, Darby's next week. You're right. So that to me, that tells me like Speedball versus Knight is going to be on a bigger stage. But it could also be on TV as well. I think like... I think it's just the way that they're, trying to.
This very well, like if we were believing Omega Max headlining, this probably would have happened in Montreal. You would think, right?
Yeah. And
like
for
that would
some reason,
that would be the only logical place to have held this one off for as long as they did, and like I'm sure they will get to the match.
But they thought they needed Kevin Knight as Kenny Omega's opponent for whatever reason. I guess because he had already set up the match with MJF, but
I think it's one of those where it's okay. This is not going to be our best drawing main event, but it's hopefully going to pay dividends and establish Kevin Knight in a higher role by us putting him into a main event. But it's not optimal for in terms of just drawing a pay-per-view for that one night. But it's the hope that this positioning of Kevin Knight will tell our audience like this guy is a top talent for us.
And of course you hope for something big for Speedball at Redemption, like with him being, the Montreal native.
I hope so. He's got nothing going on at the moment. So he's got to do the collision strategy and say, hey, I just want to fight at Redemption. And
Bandito.
Bandito, as soon as you're done with Kyle, I'll be waiting.
Yeah.
Mercedes Divine Dominion against Willow Nightingale, High End, and Maya World. Big CEO chance, of course, being in Boston here for Mercedes. Hyan and Maya toss Moné to the floor, and they get the advantage on Maya for a long period. Eventually, Willow gets the tag. All 6 end up in the ring. We get everybody down. Moné and Maya are doing rolling cradles around the ring, and Divine Dominion attack Hyan. There's a Falcon Arrow by Megan Bayne, but Willow is in for the save and hits a pounce. Moné gets rid of Willow, and then Hyan spears Moné and attempts a backslide. It's countered, and Moné hits the moneymaker, pinning Hyan, who was, I think everyone knew who was likely taking the fall in this one. 13 minutes and 55 seconds to close off the show, and no big angle at the end of this, and no Tekla on the show either for,
She was in Japan.
That's right. She is, she's working with Stardom this weekend.
Mm-hmm. I thought this match was really good, and I really enjoyed Mercedes and Divine Dominion together. I also really like the babyface tag team. The fact that like Willow and Maya could get cheered the way they did against Mercedes Moné in Boston.
It was a kind of tough spot for them.
But they did really well. I think it shows you how strong of a connection Willow has, to just really any AEW audience. I thought the match was like well laid out, very like good pace of action. It was hard hitting. So in the main event spot, I thought like these 6 did really well. I think Divine Dominion are just awesome, and having Moné attached to him, I would love to see way more of these trios matches.
Yeah, it's very clear that in AEW they do not shy away from these situations where it's like the heel is in her hometown. Mm-hmm. We saw this with Ciampa tonight. It's just the location is like, we are not going to have Mercedes try and cut a heel promo, or it's like the baby faces are going to have to overcome that. And it's like a sports feel where you're the away team, and they've always leaned into that. And I think that's a way better way to go than trying to fight the crowd. It's like, it's a one night thing, and go into it. Don't run from that.
Agreed.
So a lot on this show in terms of building up for redemption. We should go in order here. Collision has Hikaru Shida and Queen Aminata for the TBS title. Jack Perry and Nick Wayne in a Chapter 2 match. Tommaso Ciampa against anyone. And then next week on Dynamite, Kevin Knight, Darby for the TNT title. And then Omega, Ospreay, and Moxley against Brian Cage, Jake Doyle, and Hechicero, which is a really weird trios match, but should probably be very entertaining.
Yeah. Do you expect the title change for Knight and Darby?
No, I would not beat Kevin Knight going into this pay-per-view. I think they've already got enough working against them that I would not do a title loss here.
But then would you have Knight lose to Kenny as champion, though?
Yes.
Hasn't taken the belt off of him, at least save the title from...
I think you could run I think Knight should beat Darby next week. He can lose to Omega, and then you do a rematch with Darby at a future date, potentially. Or you could hold on to Knight as champion and he faces Speedball. I don't think it hurts him losing as champion at the pay-per-view. I mean, you take some notes from Bandito. There's a way to lose as champion. And then the pay-per-view, we have 5 matches with Omega, Kevin Knight, Mark Davis, Andrade, Tekla, and Willow, The Painmaker against Tom Whitney, and Kyle Fletcher against Bandito, champion versus non-champion challenger.
That is correct. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So what is that now? 5 matches. We also have on the buy-in celebrating 80 years of the Rougeau Wrestling Dynasty. So
is Jacques going to wrestle on the show? Is Raymond going to?
Maybe that'll be the buy-in.
They take on Doyle and Davis.
So that's 5 matches so far. So we don't even have half the card yet.
They got a
Collision. I'm sure you'll have plenty of announcements.
I mean, it seems like Max probably misses this show, but in terms of your big name, like Copeland and Christian should hopefully be involved in something of significance. You've got the Young Bucks.
I would expect all the Canadians to do something on the show. Again, like if Speedball does not wrestle on the show, that would be a big problem.
Will wrestle on the show. The question is, will he be in something significant?
He needs to be something more than the buy-in.
Yeah,
he really does. Do the Mark? Well, you can't do Mark Davis. Like all his opponents.
There's no story that's going on for him beyond Kevin Knight. Like doesn't. It's not like you're starting from scratch if you're going to shoot some angle for him, which maybe that's all they're going to do for this show. But this does feel like a pay-per-view that is, if you're going to miss an AEW pay-per-view, I can see people holding off on this one and just waiting to.
Well, they still have a lot of talent to put into matches, right? You don't have a Will Ospreay match yet. You don't have a Death Riders, not John Moxley match yet. You know, there's still a lot of big pieces for them to like craft something like that much more worthwhile for.
Yes. So we will see what the end result is for this card. So that's going to wrap up the YouTube portion of the show. We do have some feedback and questions that we're going to be getting to, but a reminder again, we will be back on Thursday chatting WrestleMania 21.
Yeah.
Triple H, Big Dave, and lots more to come.
Yeah. And then on Friday, we have the latest edition of MCU Later, talking about X-Men 97 Season 2. This weekend, we got Collision Course with Kate from Montreal and Ray Williams, who will be back doing a double shift, working on the NWA podcast coming out this Sunday as well. That, along with our Saturday night's main event review here on the Post Wrestling YouTube channel.
Oh, that's right. We got that on the
feeds.
weekend.
Yeah, sorry. And then we have our G1 review with John Pollock, Karen Peterson. You're working quintuple duty or septuple duty this week.
None of this all added up to me until you pointed it out the other night, and I was thinking, like, I just know these shows are coming up. I don't know in my head the proximity of all these shows together. There's a few this weekend. So anyway, we will be back many times over. Do check out the double shot. I've enjoyed my discussions of TNA with Wai Ting, and next week we'll go into Necro Butcher versus Samoa Joe.
Yeah, and possibly Unreal if we can manage to fit that in as well.
Right, because that drops
Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So goodbye, everyone on the YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button on your way out. And do check out the YouTube shorts. Our team, Luke Hale, Sean, they're doing a great job.
Excellent job. Yeah.
Goodbye, everyone.